Well, in Sanskrit studies, when they're studying Sanskrit, they say anything you try to memorize at night, you forget by morning,
Yes.
which is contrary to what you just said. You're thinking of shlokas and you wake up with the shloka, but you have some familiarity with that. So the memorization is done in the morning for the Sanskrit vyakaran. They have to learn many things, akshars and all, whatever, sandhis and all these things. Very scientific language. So the best time for reading and trying to memorize is in the morning time.
My question was not memorizing, but...
No, but in other words, smaran, you're trying to remember something.
Yes, memorize.
But you can't remember something you have no contact with.
Yes.
Can you remember somebody you never met?
Surely, Maharaj, that's the question.
You never met, never saw, never read a description of a person. Remember Mr. X. Okay, Mr. X.
Yes.
So you have to familiarize yourself with the subject matter.
Yes.
So, in other words, smaran later. When I asked my Gurudev smaran, and Gurudev said smaran is not possible until you add anubhav. So it's a very high level definition of smaran. I thought, well, that's pretty high up there. So he gave a very strict definition of it. He said, real smaran means you're remembering what you've had experienced. So what do we have experienced? What is our anubhav of Krishna's lila, Radha Krishna's lila? Koine, zero. So that's the kind of a high-end definition of smaran. And I said, well, less than that. Then he said, well, it's not really his definition. Then you don't really call it smaran, you call it thinking.
Yes,
Thinking or remembering.
Yeah, thinking. He said smaran. Because when I talk about smaran and Juvano Smriti, that's like Swarasiki. You're just right in the lila. Juvano Smriti is unbroken stream of honey pouring from the jar. There's Juvano Smriti, Anu Smriti, moment to moment to moment, remembering and experiencing. And then, of course, the final is Samadhi. So practically all sadhakas are trying to read a little bit, think a little bit, and we call that smaran.
Yes.
Gradual, occasional. The definition when they say smaran's the first level, smaran, just like we say Brajmandal, or we say Vrindavan. But in Vrindavan there's Dwadasavan, and then there's 135 Upavans, but then one forest is called Vrindavan.
Yes.
So we say smaran, remembering, but then there's 5 types of smaran. The first one is called smaran, first level smaran, which is simple, occasional remembrance. And then there's dharana, which means holding for some longer time. And then dhyan, and then juvana smriti, and samadhi. So difficult in Kali Yuga. Our minds are chanchala himana Krishna, pramati balavadridam, vayur, what does he say? Nigrante vayur duskaram. This is Bhagavad Gita, 6th chapter, verse 13 or so, something like that. Krishna is telling Arjuna, or Arjuna is telling Krishna, he said, you're telling me to control the mind. Chanchalam mana Krishna, he said, the mind is very restless. Chanchalam mana Krishna. Pramati means mad. Means prakrishtharena mata means very mad. Pra means very excessively mad. In common colloquial language, we say the mind is crazy. Or Gaura Swami used to say, Bhagavan. Oh, you foolish, you crazy mind, you stupid mind, you Bhagavan, Pagal. So then Pramati, Balavan, very strong. And Dridam means relentless. Means unrelenting. The mind doesn't quit. It doesn't take a vacation. 24/7, it's distracting us and disturbing us. And the Vayu, the Grante, he says, Grante Vayu Duskaram, it's very difficult, hard to control, like the wind. Duskaram means very difficult to control.